same type of motion that he needs to review it and take any action he deems necessary, enforcement action.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
What's the address for that location? Do you have that?
The second, no, sir, but I'll get it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Item 8, board action to schedule a public hearing to rezone the Island View property to P2 recreational. Now that the county owns the land, the property needs to be rezoned from commercial to a preservation status.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion, a second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Additionally, Alan learned from Mr. Doug Hadaway from Trust for Public Land that DEP wants the Island View project to begin the improvements as soon as possible. Doug is still working on the contract between the county and TPL for the management of the construction, but it will be coming soon. Doug says if all goes well, renovations will start in the fall of 2016. Item 9, Mr. Terry Posmer has applied to DEP to build a seawall in front of his property located at 1033 Gulf Shore Boulevard. Mr. Posmer's property adjoins 1031 Gulf Shore Boulevard, which is owned by the county. And he would like the county to approval to allow him to extend the seawall at his expense, and I also should put his liability in front of the county's lot. I've attached a copy of his request and map. Board action to have Mr. Schuler contact Mr. Posmer regarding his request and make a recommendation back to the board.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, a second on the floor. All in favor?
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman,
I have a-
before the vote, we had.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Bert Bolt, and I live at 1039 Gulf Shore Boulevard, which is just hundreds of feet west of this particular address. I'd like you to know that there has been no public opportunity to look at this proposal at all. Historically, this seawall issue is interfering with the biology of that entire ecosystem. I want to remind you that that Gulf Shore Boulevard is a hyper-critical erosion area, and I would be opposed to any type of seawall that would impair the lot owners, including mine, in that area. I just wanted to bring that point up to you. Thank you.
Think it's gonna throw water on you?
And say again, sir?
Think that wall gonna bring the water to you?
The wall will not bring the water to me. The wall will, yeah, that's correct, by eroding. Typically, seawalls will erode properties lateral to itself. We have perfect examples of that, of an eroded property that I own at 1025 Gulf Shore Boulevard, where the neighbor west had to have a seawall to protect his home, and my property, as a result of that erosion, has been receded all the way right almost to the street edge of Gulf Shore Boulevard, and it's completely unbuildable now. And that's what a seawall will do to the lateral properties to it.
I want to be clear, I'm not asking the board to approve that right now. I'm asking the board to have Attorney Schuler look at the request and come back to the board with recommendation.
And I'm just adding additional information and facts, that's all. Thank you.
He's in the process, right now, let's have some discussion, Mr.
Yes, sir,
Chairman, if
have
you don't mind.
discussion.
He's, according to the email that we received that you sent to our iPad.
Yes, ma'am.
He's in the process of applying to FDEP to build a seawall across from his property to the property that's owned by the county. So, I mean, he's just applying for, and then what he wants is for us to say that we didn't have no problem him building the seawall on the county property. That's all that he's
That's what he's asking for. And based on the information I got from Alan, the reason the county got that property is because the lady that owned it prior to us applied for the same permit and couldn't get one.
couldn't get one.
Because you can't, usually, DEP is not gonna issue a permit to protect a vacant lot.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have a house there, then you have an investment, and DEP says, okay, you have a reason to have a seawall, rural construction, but on a vacant lot, the experience of the previous owners, but in my experience, that if it's a vacant lot, you just have to live with what Mother
What
Nature
erosion,
Yeah.
yeah.
And this property adjoining this, what you're talking about, the property addressed at 1031 Gulf Shore Boulevard, owned by a former lady who gave that property to the county, because it was unbuildable. It's unbuildable because of a seawall immediately east of her lot line. That seawall also eroded her property and made it unbuildable. That's why you have it today.
Yeah, the two houses that are bounded by sea, they're gonna be an island. I mean, I agree completely, and I think ultimately you'll have an island out there, those two lots. Actually, to let you know, I was out there last week to look at it. Their seawall is already failing. So I'm not sure that they're gonna be successful in this venture. That's right.
Well,
So what do?
You lose your house.
So you don't put up seawalls
No,
to
you try,
protect
you
your
try.
property?
But the force
But if
of
you
road
do,
now-
you're eroding somebody else's property. If you don't protect your property eroded. I mean, so what is the way out of it?
It's a dilemma there on Alligator Point. It's critically eroding. The erosion rate is so powerful there in that particular area that I'm not sure you can do anything to save it.
You're saying it washes the seawalls down and everything else?
It's the wave action. Now, that little storm we had was so significant now that we lost another 10 feet of Gulf Shore Boulevard, and these houses lost about 2 feet of sand against the outside of their walls, so now the walls begin to blow out.
Fall over.
It's so shallow out there smoking. Out in front of it, when it comes in, it rolls a swell in. It's just it's shallow way on out.
bad. Let me ask a question, Alan. This picture, Michael,
Yes,
this
ma'am.
picture that we have here on our iPad from Gulf Shore Boulevard, the one in red is the county
County's
lot?
lot, yes, and he's.
And
to
then the other one, that's a vacant lot, or what?
Well, no, that's our
Is it to
vacant
the
lot.
east or to the west?
He's to the left of us.
That's us. We're the vacant lot.
The
With
red
the
one is
red,
us.
with
The
the
red
red.
one is our
Yes.
lot. The seawall will be coming from the east.
From the east,
Because
from
the house
this
to the
way.
left,
No, from this way.
Commissioner Sanders, that's Dick Waters' house. I'm
Yeah.
almost sure.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
They'll be
correct.
coming
It's
from
Dick
this
Waters'
way.
former home.
Yeah.
This is not Mr. Parsons'
He
house?
No,
bought
that's Mr. Parsons' house there.
Dick
But
Waters'
there's no
place.
seawall right there.
Yeah, but he wants to extend it across, his wall is failing. He wants to extend it across our lot.
See, that's his lot with a wall right there.
Right.
And then you got another one right there that's got a wall.
I still wanna check the
Mr.
records.
Burt, where's your lot at?
I'm sure.
My lot would be east of the two you're looking at.
Okay.
Just east of it.
Correct, which would be 1025 Gulf Shore.
Okay, so you don't have nothing there?
He tried to get a house there.
I used to have a house
Yeah,
there,
you
and it
used
was
to have a house.
unbuildable.
I thought you
Correct.
did.
That's
It
right.
wash away.
And it washed away?
Eroded in the front to the point it was
Yeah.
unbuildable, unrepairable.
But that was
Correct,
his lot.
in a Dennis storm. Now, concurrently, I live right now, full-time, at 1039 Gulf Shore Boulevard,
Which I
which
believe
is
is
about
the green
300 feet west of
Yeah.
this issue.
The square green house on the edge of your screen, I believe that's his
Right.
current.
Yeah,
That's our home.
yeah.
And again, it's threatened by any type of sensitive seawall that would erode west of itself. And of course, you know, a lot of this remedy and cure is all hypothetical now, but the potential of beach renourishment again, maybe focusing specifically on Gulf Shore Boulevard is something that we're looking at. Don't know if it's going to be an appropriate issue, but we're considering something, not only renourishment, but maybe even a development of a reef barrier out seaward of that to preserve that point. Again, that's all hypothetical, and we're looking into what the potential might be. It all failed about 10 years ago to do that.
We did at one time try to do beach
Well,
renourishment
and
down
that's
there,
what I-
and people voted against it.
It all failed 10 years ago, but I think looking at, it may be an entirely different approach now, and not quite so much of the whole linear length of the peninsula,
Okay.
but critical areas.
What does the attorney and staff recommend for us to do? We've got a motion and a
Got a motion second on the floor, what we need to do.
to approve.
My
No, not
recommendation is
approved.
just to ask Attorney Schuler to look at the
Okay,
the
you want
request,
just to
and
look
come
at
back
it.
to the board and say.
Okay, so we're just gonna ask you to look at it.
That's all we're doing.
Then come
Okay.
back with a
Yes.
report, yes, ma'am.
That's all I was
I think
asking
we
for.
already voted on that.
No, I just had it there, we stopped and had discussion.
Oh, okay.
All right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
Okay, and for everyone that's here for the 1:30 workshop, we're getting there. We're just running a little late this morning, so we'll be there in a few. Item 10, board action authorizing the chairman's signature on a resolution for FWC Florida Boating Improvement Grant for the Old Ferry Dock Boat Ramp. The county applied for this grant last year, but wasn't ranked high enough. Security is reapplying for this grant and is seeking letters of support from the community. A copy of the resolution is attached.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion second on the floor, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
And one of the things Mark is asking for, the more letters of support we get for this project, the higher we might score. So that's one of the things to help us get a better score.
Mike,
this
Mike,
round.
Mr. Chairman, if I might.
Yes, sir.
On that particular issue, he needs to seek a letter of support from the Seafood Workers Association.
Yeah, I talked to Shannon Hartsfield yesterday.
And a lot of we need to get some more support letters out of the community of East Point.
Okay.
Which is where this is located. I mean, I support it, but, you know, I'm not a member of that community per se, so.
Okay.
We need to make sure we get some letters out of from the business people over there that's in the seafood industry and other things out of that particular community, along with some of us in these other communities, but primarily, you want the people of that community to represented well in that.
Yes, sir, okay. Tap into, yes, sir. I'm sorry, item 11, board action authorizing the chairman's signature on the state matching EMS grant resolution. This is the one that we know as the baby ambulance grant. We do this every year. It's for $28,000.
Have a motion and second on the floor. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Item 12, inform the board that the Weems Construction Manager at Risk Selection and Evaluation Committee met on Wednesday, February 24th, to discuss the ranking the firms that submitted proposals. Mr. Mike Cooper will present the committee's recommendation at the March 15th board meeting.
Can I ask something,
Yes,
Michael?
ma'am.
I've heard little scuttlebutts about it and stuff, about this committee meeting and all that. Were any of the people that submitted a bid for this, and were they interviewed at all, any of them?
Oh, no, ma'am. The committee discussed
ranked
it
them?
at length, and they decided that the rankings were sufficient, and that they were going to make a recommendation to this board based on the rankings, the points.
Okay, so they're gonna do it as 1, 2, 3?
Yes.
Oh,
Well, they're going to submit just number one,
No,
basically, to the board.
Just one.
Yes, just one, the only one to the board. They discussed it, and they felt that interviews would not change the rankings that were in front of them, so they were going to submit the number one firm to this board.
so we're not gonna have interviews with these?
Not from the selection committee.
That's what I'm saying, this board is not gonna have interviews when Wings East was being built, when it came upon there, we took the top 3 selected,
Uh-huh.
and we did the interview process, and we went through this, and I'm gonna remind everybody that this is a $10 million bond that this board is gonna place on the people for this new hospital, okay? And I think it would be very prudent to have an interview process there, to where you can interview, we took Wings East, we took the top 3
Yes, ma'am.
and interviewed from there. Because it's ultimately gonna be this board's decision.
Are you asking
who we picked.
the evaluation committee to do the interviews, or does this board want
County
to do it?
commission does it. So
We
what
do
we, yeah, the county
She
commission.
said she would
did
like
it.
to do the top 3, and that's interview them.
Mm-hmm, the top 3 and interview them. Okay? So send that back, and that's what I would recommend that.
I got a question real quick too, Mike. When we're selecting the manager at risk, does the total overall project of this hospital, does that not get bid out? Or do they just have a budget and manager at risk tries to complete that?
I don't want to answer our attorney. I think Attorney Schill might be able to answer that question better than I, when it comes to the process for the construction manager at risk.
All right, the first step is for the board to select the construction manager at risk. And then once that selection is made, you will then enter into negotiations with that construction manager to establish what we call the guaranteed maximum price. And that guaranteed maximum price is obviously not going to exceed the USDA loan amount. And if they exceed whatever the amount is on that GMP, they're at risk, because if they go over the budget, whatever cost is necessary to complete the hospital comes out of their pocket, not yours. And then, obviously, if they come in under budget, then there's an incentive to them, and they get a little piece of the savings, basically as a bonus, so to speak.
So this project is not really just gonna be bid out like we do our road paving and everything else? It's not, we're not using that same criteria?
When you start the actual construction process, then yes, there will be a bidding of the just like you did at Williams East. You know, you had people that bid out
You bid
the
out
plumbing,
different
and the
components.
roofing,
Yeah.
and the brickwork.
Okay, so you're bidding different components, not the overall job, right?
That's my understanding,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
And since I have these feelings like I do, I don't know how the board feels about it, but I'm just doing like we did for Wings East, which was a $1.5 million project. This is a $10 million project, and I'm gonna go ahead and make a motion to have the committee, the evaluation selection committee, submit to the county commission the top 3 people, the top 3 companies, come back with us on that recommendation, set up a time and a date that we can do the interview process and go from there. And then the selection be done from there. Okay?
Second.
Have a motion and second on the floor. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
That's the way we done it the last time, like you said, when we was over down to the
Yeah.
east. Just don't pick one and
Yeah.
let it be a slam dunk.
Right.
Okay, Commissioners. Item 13, I received a request from Ms. Elizabeth Gosnell, President of Rock by the Sea, to extend Harry A's operating hours to 2 a.m. on May 12th. Rock by the Sea is a 501c3 designated Florida not-for-profit corporation, and as stated in her request, has supported mostly, but not exclusively, local, state, and national children's charities. Rock by the Sea 10, which will be a 4-night music festival, will be held at Harry A's on St. George Island, and because of the amount of bands that are attending this event, some traveling as far as from the West Coast, Ms. Gosnell is asking the board to allow Harry A's to stay open until 2 a.m. on Thursday, May 12, 2016. Based on the county's ordinance 89-14, Harry A's is allowed to stay open until 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday, May 13th and 14th. A copy of her request and the ordinance is attached. Need some discussion and possibly action today, if you guys would like.
I'd like to comment on that. This is a festival that's been going on in St. George, basically, 8 of the last 10 years has been on St. George. And we have 37 states represented in the attendees, so it's been a very successful event. It's sold out for this year. We have a great number of bands coming in that were at the original festival back 10 years ago. So I would support that request and make that motion.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Yes, sir, go ahead.
Let me ask you, we had any objection, any kind?
Honestly, no, but the request was made to me and the board, so it wasn't a public request. So there was opportunity for objection, I guess is what I'm saying, as I know right now, Commissioner.
Okay.
But if any comes after this motion, I'll let the board know.
All right, have a motion and second on the floor. All in favor?
Favor?
Oh,
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Almost through, Commissioners. Inform the board that the substantial inspection of the Army renovation project will be on Monday, March 7th. At the substantial inspection, a final punch list will be created for the contractor, and then a final inspection will be scheduled after those items are addressed. The inlets for the drainage project should be delivered towards the end of this week, and then that project should be completed within a few weeks, providing there are no unknown issues. By the end of March, hopefully, the entire Armory project should be finished. But have no fear, Mark is working on another grant to start this all over again.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. This phase will be complete.
Yeah, this phase will be completed. That's good. Thank you for the correction.
Actually, we'll know in 8 days by the end of the session whether we get money out of historic preservation for the flooring, so we're gonna know. the
I have
flooring
some
that-
good
Florida
news
cleaning.
on that, Mr. Chairman, if I can
Yes,
share
sir.
it with the board. We are on the list for funding. We just barely made it. I think it's 180,000 maybe. Does that sound
Yep.
right? For flooring and something else, it seems like.
Painting.
Pipe and painting.
Yeah. The project for the World War II Museum did not make it. They wanted some display cases, but the Preservation Armory did. And I've been to a couple of events there, and it's just really great what the county's done there.
Yes, glad to know that. Mark will be happy to hear that. Item 15, remind the board that a total of 3 projects, 2 for the Small County Outreach Program, SCOP, and the other one for the County Incentive Grant Program, will have to be submitted at the March 15th meeting. Last year, the county submitted Hickory Dip, the first few miles of C30, and an area on Highway 67. But that'll be at the next meeting. And finally, county staff has been informed that the construction of the ground storage water tank for St. George Island water management has been completed. There's still a DEP testing phase that the system is undergoing, but when the tank goes online, the total water storage capacity on St. George Island will be approximately 1 million gallons, as the existing storage tanks will continue to be used. St. George Island water storage capacity will be the largest of all the water systems in the county. That ends my report, Commissioner.